Thank you for joining this morning. This is Vinny and Beau show. Some of you might know me, Vinny Chopra, and my partner, Beau Eckstein. And we come to you live at 9:30 Pacific, which is 12:30 Eastern, every Friday. Thanks for joining.
And I think, Vinny, honestly, we at some point we're going to start a affordable housing multifamily division underneath Monell Investments. I'll run the division.
Wow.
We'll have a nonprofit component, and we'll help.
Wow.
We could probably help this in a big way, really.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting week. I hope it's been for you also. Beau, you have some questions, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of questions.
How are you, brother?
Good to see you, Vinny. Good to see you, Beau.
Oh, thank you. We are so privileged to have you.
Hey, Vinny, real quick.
Yeah, bud.
All right, I'll bet you sushi that you don't know what does SAS stand for?
Hi there, everybody joining us, watching us. We are live in 7 channels actually today in the YouTube, in LinkedIn, in Facebook groups and Facebook. Thanks again for liking the show. Please give comments, share, and we are here for a very big show today. All right. We are so excited to have you all join us. I know, please share your name and the state you are from. We are going live right now in Facebook and LinkedIn and, YouTube, of course, Facebook pages. This is Vinny and Beau show. We do it come every Friday, 9:30 Pacific. Beau, how are you, brother? And we have a great guest today. Leon-Guerrero is here. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, I'm doing well.
Huh?
Doing well. I got a closing, so that's good, right? So
excellent.
I'm buying a duplex in Pennsylvania right now, and it's funny. I'm in the loan business, and yet I still have the same struggles as everybody else, getting the docs out on time. And it's the loan business and getting your deals done. People, it's always you're always pushing, and I'm in the business, and as soon as I get conditions, I'm firing them back to the underwriters and stuff. It's just a pain in the butt process, and you got to learn that as much as you're prepared for it, these lenders, these appraisers, everybody's taking a long time. You got to be able to relay the message to the seller that, hey, I'm going to get the deal done. Don't you worry, because a lot of sellers are all the same. They're always worried. I'm going to pull the deal because you need an extra week to close. Well, when you perform and you're at the mercy of an appraisers and things like that, it's just part of the game, guys. And you're going to have to get a thick skin is the key, is have a thick skin and always communicate. If I wasn't performing, then, hey, it's my bad, but I perform. So anyway, the good news is we're buying a duplex. It's going to pay me $1,700 a month for the rest of my life or a long time.
Okay.
So how many of these can we add this year is the goal? How many doors, how much cash flow? And today's guest, I'll introduce Ty. Ty's been on the show before. Ty is a great friend of Vinny and I.
Yes.
And what I love about Ty is he's probably the best communicator I've ever seen in the real estate game. This guy's sold over 2,500 homes, and he's also a broker investor, right? So he's an investor-friendly agent. So he has an interesting dynamic where he can look at deals in many different ways. Maybe he lists it traditionally, or maybe the seller needs to sell quickly and doesn't want to show the property. So Ty comes in, he communicates very well with sellers, and that's why he's able to create these amazing solutions. That's the key of the show today, I think, is talking to people, building win-win relationships, and direct-to-seller marketing. That's the key in the game, because as we all know, it's super competitive right now. Unless you're maybe buying retail for Airbnb properties, you're not really finding deals on the market anymore unless you have connections with brokers and you're going direct to seller. So the topic today is a great topic, and there's nobody better to teach this topic or to educate people in the space as far as direct to seller marketing. So please welcome Ty to the show. All right.
I love it. Great to be with you guys.
Yeah. So Ty's in the Bay Area, and Ty does all different creative financing deals. He deals with foreclosures. He deals with probates. He deals with estates. Pretty much any kind of situation you can imagine, Ty's dealt with. And Ty, I know you're in a lot of mastermind communities. You have your own mastermind where you teach other real estate agents to be successful in the space. Why don't you give like a little overview of all the stuff you're doing right now with your business?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So, very, very simple. I'm in the Bay Area. I live in the East Bay. I do business all over the Bay Area. I also love the Sacramento, San Joaquin County, the Central Valley. We're in Fresno. And then I have good friends and partners in Southern California. So we'll also dip our toe and do deals in SoCal. Today, what it looks like is so we have a group called EVO, short for like evolution. And so in EVO, Adrian Hernandez, myself, and then another friend, Joe DeRaffaelli, we're basically just helping real estate agents, real estate professionals, some few loan officers, few brokers, and we're teaching them how to basically create 9 degrees where you can go in, you can list properties. Usually listing properties kind of the last option. The idea is that at the very top, maybe a creative deal, seller financing, subject to, maybe a hybrid of the two, maybe doing a fix and flip, maybe doing a wholesale deal, maybe doing a joint venture deal, maybe doing a novation where you're, in essence, for lack of a better terminology, we would partner with the seller and we would do all the renovation, construction management, all the cost, and then ultimately partner with the seller on the upside, right? On the added value. So, and then of course, a traditional listing, right? Which is kind of, I wouldn't say the last thing, but it's whatever is best suited for the seller. So, great to be with you guys. Whatever questions you want to fire, I'm happy to answer. And always great to be with Beau. I love Beau. Beau has invited me many, many times. There was a time when Beau and I were doing a squat up I guess like a podcast interview series. Would love to be more involved. I know we're going to do a live event with Beau, like a meetup, like a bar camp. Beau has been a great supporter of real estate investors and agents in the East Bay and now nationally. So, and of course, Vinney, you're always full of. Vinney, can you be more enthusiastic, please? I love Vinny's just a bundle of joy and love, man. The guy vibrates love, and of course, all the stuff you're doing in multifamily, and you're so generous with sharing, your opportunities with everyone. So anyway, I would love to interact with your audience. Thank you, Beau and Vinny, for having me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, Ty, you've been such a resource. I've been kind of following you. I just watched a podcast where Pace interviewed you, and you were talking about how some newer investors are actually. A lot of the problems are these new investors find a potential opportunity, but they have no clue on how to put the transaction together. And Ty's like or what I call a deal architect. So he can communicate to the seller and in a non-threatening way, and really just like Ty really comes out and he's helping people, right? He's helping the seller, he's helping an investor that doesn't know how to put the pieces together. So Tyler, you talk to us about some deals that you've put together this year. Like, how do you come about them, and how you structure these deals to make it a win-win?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you always have to start with the end result in mind, and the idea is that for us, we won't do a deal unless it's mutually beneficial for both the seller and for us. So that's number one. That's always going to be the situation. Usually, the kind of deals that I do well, or it's usually deals that other people cannot do, which would be there's compounded problems. You're dealing with a family, it's an estate, the property's in a trust, or maybe it's not in a trust. Maybe it even has to go through a probate process. It's in pre-foreclosure. And by the way, we've got tenants or squatters in the property, and we're not sure how to deal with them. How do we get them out? Can we get them out? So that's a compounded problem. So for that kind of a deal, I love too the architect. I love the deal architect. We use the term transaction engineer. I love deal architect as well. I think it's just as elegant, maybe even more elegant, both. So thank you for that. Yeah, so we would go in and, as an example, we're able to say, okay, great, let's get you with a probate attorney. Let's get the probate started. Let us, work with the bank to get the property out of pre-foreclosure. And simultaneously, we will do the unlawful detainer, the eviction. And so we've got these three different things going on. And so that's where my team can get in and manage a process. It doesn't have to be that complicated. But the way I look at it is the bigger the problem, right, the bigger the opportunity, right? So the bigger the problem. Oh, and by the way, the house is trashed, right? The house is a complete mess. It looks like a dump site. It's getting code violations. They're getting city fines. There's all kinds of problems there. The neighbors are all sick and tired of the house as well. So we're able to step in those kinds of situations and deal engineer. I love working with wholesalers because a lot of times wholesalers have one tool. They're looking at a deal, they're trying to make it work at 65 or 70% of, after repair value, and maybe they can't figure out a way to work it. So I like to take a creative approach. I love to JV with other investors, other wholesalers, other agents and brokers. So
Yeah. And this is kind of like, it's interesting because, Vinney comes from the multifamily world but actually his first deal he did was a 14 unit apartment complex years and years ago. And he actually negotiated seller financing.
Yeah.
And so I think no matter where you're at, knowing the different tools to put in your tool belt is like essential. Like you need to know about lease options. You need to know about sub two. You need to know how to wrap do a subject to with a wrap, right? If you're selling on terms and making spreads. And I mean, it's just amazing, like how you can create deals out of nowhere. Like a lot of people would buy property just because they would say, okay, well, I need to buy it as low as possible. But if you're a deal architect or a transaction engineer, you don't need to buy it as low as possible. You can buy it on your terms, right, Ty? And so that's what Ty does. He figures out how I can make this deal work for everybody. And so if somebody's willing to carry the paper or do a seller finance deal, you can pay above retail for a property, right? Because they're going to finance you. You can essentially get them to finance the deal with potentially no interest, right? It's just you're paying down principal each payment. So there's always a solution, and it's just really being able to communicate a message like, hey, we're interested in buying this property, but we'll pay your price, but you have to take our terms. And so that's, I think, is a skill that takes years and years to develop, and Ty's developed these skills because he's done. When you do over 2,500 transactions, you learn how to negotiate with people and you learn how to communicate with people. And that's probably the biggest skill you need in real estate, whether you're a real estate agent or broker, if you're a loan officer or whatever you're out, it's going to help you in the long run. If you're a multifamily investor and granted right now, people are putting 30, 40 offers on these properties, but at some point there's going to be a lot more opportunity to negotiate when the market starts when it becomes more of a neutral market, not just a seller's market. So it's interesting. So Ty, what are you seeing like in the space right now? I know you're often on Michael Zuber's podcast, One Rental at a Time, and I like Zuber. He's an interesting character, and you guys are doing like a lot of updates, and it's interesting times right now. Like is Zuber kind of expecting? What is he expecting in the market to happen, as far as residential properties?
he's great. Michael Zuber is awesome. And it's funny, my relationship with Michael Zuber came from you, Beau. So I met him at your meetup in San Ramon. I believe the last live meetup that you did was in San Ramon. So Vinney was there as well speaking.
Yeah,
I was
remember.
speaking there. Yeah, that was great. Vinney talking about multifamily space.
Yes.
So Michael Zuber, for some people that don't know, you can find his channel at One Rental at a Time. He's a good friend of Vinney and Beau's and myself. We do actually right after this at 10 a.m. I do a Friday financial news wrap up. It usually gets posted in the evening. Tonight he'll post it. I post it in my Facebook. But ultimately, here's what's happening. Michael Zuber has an MBA. He's a high level, high educated financial guy. He worked in corporate America. He worked in Silicon Valley and high tech as a sales leader. The guy's a brilliant, brilliant guy. And he looks at tons and tons of data, 2 to 3 hours a day of just reading and different things and digesting. So the essence of what is happening is because of the war, interest rates have stayed soft, and we're seeing still low rates because of the
Mhm.
war in Russia.
Mhm.
If you remove the war, you probably would begin to see some spikes in interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rates were spiking 2 or 3 weeks before. Now, again, we're still at record low interest rates. So right now, there will never be a better time for cash flows for you to buy for low, cheap debt, low interest debt with, with basically rents climbing, appreciation still climbing. We believe that there's still going to be low inventory in most strong markets, that inventory is still going to remain tight because with the war and with the uncertainty of a potential recession, with the amount of inflation, people are scared.
Mhm.
So you're going to see people not moving up. The person who might sell the 3 bedroom to go to a 4 bedroom says, you know what, let's stay a couple more years. So you're going to see low inventory still with low interest rates. So we're probably going to see the market appreciate. With a recession and with interest rates, the market will stabilize and or start to turn, maybe a little softening, but definitely no crash, no foreclosure, big giant boom
Mhm.
of foreclosures. Foreclosures, by the way, have always been around. We still
Mhm.
work for pre-foreclosure deals all the time. Good
Mhm.
markets, strong markets, but ultimately we still believe it's a great buying time because of low interest.
So true. So very true. I think as we are seeing also with the inflation at what 6.9%, I could not believe. Yesterday we were driving by and we saw the gas at $5.75 or something. And we were in Tesla, my wife's Tesla. And my wife said, "Oh, patted the Tesla. Thank you," because she didn't have to put the gas in there. I was sharing that with our family, in the meeting yesterday. We do a family Zoom meeting. So that was interesting how electric cars are really becoming, so great viable means, and a lot of, I mean, economy is going to be growing. But you're right. Interest rates were supposed to, and I think they will. That's what I heard yesterday. They are saying still there are chances that maybe in April or May they're going to bump them up by 0.25 or 0.75, let's say, right? Ty. And then another one maybe coming up in October, I heard. I don't know what you're thinking on that.
Yeah, I believe the Fed said there was going to be three. I
Hmm.
believe they announced, which they
Yeah,
don't normally do, but they said
yeah,
anticipate 3 interest rate hikes.
yeah.
So it's still probably coming. I just think it's an interesting time. One thing for sure is that, again, Michael Zuber, based on the data, and again, I'm just quoting him and what we talk about on the show, that, we're probably due for a recession. There will be a recession. It may not be this year. He seemed to
Hmm.
think that it was going to be this year. It's interesting with the war. If they keep rates low, we may not hit the recession, but there is a recession that's somewhere around the corner. What does that really mean for, again, for real estate investors, for us, our community, especially if you're creative and you're
Hmm.
able to raise capital, you're able to put together really good deals. That's right. I know Vinney puts together great deals. Beau puts together great deals. Myself, I pride myself in putting together, not an average deal, but a
Hmm.
strong deal, a better than average deal, a great deal. If you're able to find deals during a recession, and it also just even with interest rates climbing, it's still a great market. So I think subject twos, I think seller financing, I think all of, having all the tools to know how to engineer deals, how to architect deals,
Hmm.
it that's the better opportunity. The market we've been in that's just going straight up, it's been hard for investors to find deals. I think if we have a slight curve, and I don't want anybody to get hurt in a recession, but if in fact we do get into a recession, I think the opportunities for this community, if you're well equipped, you're going to do really well.
I agree with you 100%, Ty. That's kind of what I'm predicting and I'm speaking of like the single family space, that people have, they've been, on the retail market, they're overpaying sometimes, and they're getting that competition, and they're bidding these properties up. And when the market softens a little bit and that person needs to move and they don't want to ruin their credit, they're going to have to figure out some kind of way to sell a property. And their realtor, most of the time, 99% of the time, is not going to have the skill set that maybe a Ty has, right? But as an investor, if you can uncover these people where you can show them a solution about selling subject to, or maybe some kind of lease option to purchase where they can get out, because if not, I don't think we're going to see a huge spike of foreclosures, but what we'd see is short sales again. But if you're creative and you can figure out ways of acquiring these properties, I think that's a huge opportunity that's the next 12 months is going to show. So if you're able to find these type of deals, and the beautiful part about this is that if they have financed their property in the last 3 or 4 years, the rates are going to be in the threes. So you're taking a property subject to a mortgage at 3.25% or 3% or sub 3% potentially. And that's a win-win situation for the investor. And it also helps the seller get away from ruining their credit. Because if they sell a short sale, they're going to ruin their credit. If they let it go to foreclosure, obviously they'd ruin their credit. And so by selling your property creatively, you can avoid all those things. So it's going to be, I think that's the market. The other nice thing about the way Ty sets up deals is you don't need that much cash out of pocket, right? So if you buy subject to, the property might be worth 500 and they owe 490. If they want to sell it, they'd have to put in 30 or 40 grand with closing costs and everything. So the way we win and they win, the seller, is, hey, we'll take it over subject to the existing mortgage, and you don't have to make any more payments. We'll take it over, we'll clean it up, and we'll, and then on the exit, then if Ty, bought the property subject to, he could wrap the deal and sell it. It's called it's called a wrap, or potentially he could just fix the property up and flip it if there was a value add property. So there's all these different exits on these type of deals. And really you don't need a lot of money. So if you're a newer investor, even experienced investor like me, I'd never really gotten the creative. I was good at structuring, like bringing in, raising money for the deal, but it's the other spectrum is what Ty does, right? Most of the time is, hey, we're not paying lowest price, but we're getting on the terms and being creative there. And you can do an infinite amount of deals if you know how to be a transaction engineer. That's why, like this year, it's like, okay, Beau, you got to finally be a transaction engineer. I know how to do it. It was just like, I'm taking the easy route. And like, I just bought this property and it was it's like 30 grand out of pocket, right? I have to reach in my pocket every time I want to buy a duplex, 30 grand, 40 grand.
Yeah.
And unless you're Vinney, you're going to run out of money. So
no, I think that's so appropriate what we are talking about today. It's that, it's the win-win-win situation. That's what it's all about, figuring out the solution to the, challenge that the seller might have, Ty, and you're master at it. The big thing is also, master leases or seller financing or selling incrementally over the years, because a lot of time sellers have so much gains and they don't want to pay the taxes. I mean, that's something I've come across in the multifamily field also, So by setting up the contract so that you're able to pay them over the years, there's so many alternatives, right, Ty? Yeah.
100%. And it's interesting. I'll share a story on a deal that
Sure.
you mentioned, a deal breakdown, but like a deal where the gentleman was widowed. He had some health issues, so he needs basically long-term care. But he had the house, and the house was like a nuisance to him. Like, he didn't know, like, what am I going to do to it? I don't have kids. I don't have, he's got some family friends. That's how I met him. And he said, like, why don't you buy it? And he was kind of stuck. It wasn't a bad price. It wasn't full retail, but the house had a lot of neglect and deferred maintenance, and it needed, it was a little bit more than what it was worth. But then the way we structured it was exactly the way Vinney described, which is, we said, why don't we just do a deal where what we'll do is you finance the deal. We'll give you a down payment. He didn't need a lot of cash, because what was he going to do with it? We'll give you a down payment, a reasonable down payment. But what we'll do is we'll give you monthly installments. We'll do an installment sale. And what's nice about that is now he's got income for the rest of his life, right? So he's got this money to help with his long-term care. He's got a fixed income. He's got that money coming in every month. And, we've got a nice property. It wasn't a home run, but it was a win-win because we were able to get in with a very, a pretty low down payment,
Mhm.
and it's secured. It's secured against the property. He knows it. He knows the property better than I know it. So
Mhm.
it's just a win-win. He's got long-term income for the rest of his life. And these deals are out there. I just don't think that people really understand it. I when I approached him, I was thinking like, hey, we'll buy it. Here's what the cash offer is. Here's what, a
Mhm.
cash deal. But he's like, oh, that won't work for me. It's too low. And then
Yeah.
we get into it and we get talking. And I'm like, okay, this would be a better option. So the challenge is if you only have one tool, right,
Mhm.
and things don't fit, or if you only have one solution, which is cash offer, 70%, 65%,
Mhm.
discount, 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 discount,
Yeah.
what Vinny's talking about, what we're talking about is having more options, more
Yeah.
opportunities. So
That's
Excellent. Excellent. Bo?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. This is a really interesting topic. I've been having this conversation a lot more lately just because I think a lot of people get stuck and they only know one way, and there's just so many ways to do it. And
Yeah.
it's really about getting in your network is your net worth. It's
Yeah.
such a cliche, but it's so true that like if you're around people like Ty and you could say, hey, how would you structure this deal? Like what would you do? How would you go
Mhm.
about it? Or if it's a multifamily deal and maybe, I mean, when you really look at it, syndication is another form of creative finance, right? You go out and raise investor capital, and you're leveraging. All these are leveraging techniques, and I think the real story, of anything is who, not how, right? You got to find your who on how
Mhm.
to get these things done. If you want to learn multifamily, you get a coach like Vinney, right? If you want to learn how to be a top agent, an investor friendly agent, you got a Ty in your life. You got to get these people in your life to get the results, and that's kind of the focus. And so wherever your focus is that's where it's going to go for you. So that's why we love to do the Vinny and Beau show, because we bring the guests on that provide a ton of value, and also it's not all about real estate too. It's just like, people like Ty, people like Vinny, they're always they always want to be positive. They always want to like feed around people with energy and stay motivated. I think Ty's been a transaction based investor agent. I mean, since 1993 or something like that, right?
Wow.
He's seen ups, he's seen the downs,
Mhm.
but he's one of the most positive guys I know, except for maybe Vinny, right? Like, but Ty is always out there, and Ty is a master networker too. He's out there networking. He goes to events. He goes to events to learn to this day, and usually he's probably as smart or smarter than most of the people he's that are putting on these events. But he goes because he knows he's going to get a nugget. He's going to meet somebody. And Ty, like, he's constantly doing that, and I take note of that because it's true. It's like you need to be out there meeting people because you don't know who's going to be your next investor in your fund or who. So that's what Ty does really well too. Is just constant networking. And then he's a big proponent of personal development too. He's always reading and stuff. So Vinny and Ty are a lot alike, and that's why I like hanging out with these guys, because it's like they're super positive, they're successful, they're hungry. Even like Vinny doesn't need to be hungry anymore. He could retire if he wanted, right? But he loves business. He's like he'll be 100 years old still doing deals.
I love it. Flying
Yeah.
around in his Tesla rocket.
I like it. I like it. No, I think the key thing is, to stimulate your mind every day. I mean, what would you do if we don't have some goals when we got up in the morning and then we go to bed and we say, you know what, it was not that good a day. But I think we can have fun at, any age, right? Happiness is right now, which I say always, right? It's today, this moment. We got to just focus in today. Don't worry about yesterday. I say that all the time. I had a pretty crummy day yesterday, actually, as a matter of fact, but I don't remember. And I don't want to live that again. See, a lot of times we live yesterday today, and that spoils our present. It spoils today. And then the future comes when tomorrow comes as today. If you keep on in the same trend, you're always griping about yesterday today. I mean, and that's the worst thing one can do. So I'm just kind of, I just feel so good, so passionate about also, the positivity. The positivity brings profitability in business and entrepreneur. And I just, by the way, Bo, I doubled the size, brother. So this book is revised now because I had so much when I wrote it first a couple of years back. I said no, they should be more into it. So that's something. Vinny is a promoter always, right?
Hey, Vinny.
Yes, buy the books. Buy this man's books.
I
Hey,
know
hey,
this
Vinny.
one has really
You,
done wonders, isn't
you,
it, Bo? You want to
yeah,
say
yeah,
something?
yeah. No, no. I just want to give you a tip that. So I'm a big fan of David Goggins, and he was the guy. You can't. He wrote the book. You can't hurt me.
Huh.
But he did an audio, the audio version of the book. What I love about it is in between chapters, he actually gave he talked, and he that would be cool to do with your book. Like listen to his book on audio and listen between the chapters. It was freaking awesome.
Oh my
Anyways,
God.
great book, David Goggins. Never Eat Alone. I'm reading that book or listening to that book right now. That is a freaking my two mantras this year. I keep on saying it is never eat
Let me
alone.
write it down. What was the name? Never?
Never Eat Alone by Kevin Ferrazza. It's
Oh, never eat
He's
alone.
actually friends with. I got to see him speak at Tony Robbins, and that
Oh,
guy is
wow.
brilliant. He's very under the radar. Like if you didn't know, you don't know. But that book, he's got a second book too about co-elevation, and I forget the name of the book, but it's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Kevin does well in his book, it's really he talks about how if he goes to an event, he already picks out 2 or 3 people he wants to meet.
Uh,
He studies their LinkedIn profile, and then when he's very intentional when he does these things, and he goes and meets people. It's just the way he does everything is just impressive. And if you absorb that information, I have it on audio. I'm actually going to get the book, and then I'm going to take notes from it and actually implement his strategies because I think he's the most powerful. Because really, everybody's always trying to look for new contacts and stuff, but really, if you just took the ones you have in your network, that's where it's at. You have such a powerful network. So, Ty, what are you doing today or this year for your personal development?
yeah.
Every year, I made a decision, I don't know, a few months ago. No, a few years ago. Like I'll go to Tony Robbins at least 2 or 3 times, especially because they're
Wow.
doing virtual. So I
Yes.
love Tony Robbins stuff. I got a bunch of great books. I wanna say too that we need to do a bar camp in Las Vegas. We need to do
Mhm.
a 1-day event, get Vinny,
Yes.
get multi-stages. I'll help you get the speakers, what we
That's
always talk about
amazing.
doing.
I
But
think
we
we
need to
should.
do one, I think, in the fall, or I don't really know. But Bo, I want to be around everybody who's watching this show. I've got
Ah,
to exit because I have another, right? Because we're
sure,
Sure.
going
Oh
from
yeah.
sure.
9:30 to
Yes,
10.
yes,
But I want to
yes.
say that these two guys, Vinny and Beau and Vinny, are absolutely brilliant. I think of all the great people like Mario, like Eric Lawson, um, all the great people that have come through, Cynthia, all the great like investors that, I've met and that spend time with you guys. So this is the rooms you want to be in. You want to be in rooms with Vinny, with Beau, and read books. Vinny's great books that he just showed, like all of it. So I can't wait to see you guys. Let's do a live event. I'm happy to do one even in the summer. Like maybe even we go back to San Ramon to the community center. I don't know, but I'd say let's get a live event going. Man, thank you guys for having me. This was such an
No,
honor.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Hey, Ty, where can people follow you, or where do you want
Yeah,
them to go?
please, please.
TYLG.com. You can find me TY_LG on Facebook, Instagram. I am the guy with the long last name with the very short domain. TYLG.com. So love you guys. Thank you guys so
Thank
much.
you
I've
so
got to
Thanks
much.
for.
bounce. Love you, Vinny.
Thank you,
Love you, Bo.
brother.
See you, brother.
All
Be
right,
well.
man.
Bye bye.
Good
Thank
seeing
you
you,
so
bud.
much. Thank you, Ty.
Yeah.
That was really nice to have Ty on, both. Thank you. It's such a pleasure, and thank you everybody listening to us, watching us. Please put notifications on, and we come to you live every Friday at 9:30 Pacific, 12:30 Eastern. And we are very excited that you could join us today because that makes it our job really fun and really lots and lots of good things,
We
right?
we should yeah we should definitely do. I like Ty's thought process. I think we should do a big event here in Las Vegas and invite
Yes,
all of your friends and our friends,
let's do it.
the
Let's do
the
it.
best, the CPAs, all these strategies that we can get
Surely.
everybody in one room. It'd be awesome.
Oh, that'll be beautiful. We'll do that. Thanks again for joining, and let's go out with a bang. Morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining this morning. This is Vinney and Beau show. Some of you might know me, Vinney Chopra, and my partner, Beau, and we come to you live at 9:30 Pacific, which is 12:30 Eastern, every Friday. Thanks for joining.
And I think, Vinney, honestly, we at some point we're going to start a affordable housing multifamily division underneath Monale Investments. I'll run the division. We'll have a nonprofit component, and we'll help.
Wow.
We could probably help this in a big way, really.
I would love that. I would love that.
Yeah.
It's been an exciting week. I hope it's been for you also. Beau, you have some questions, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a lot of questions.
How are you, brother?
Good. Good to see you, Vinny. Good to see you, Beau.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We are so privileged to have you.
Hey, Vinney, real quick.
Yeah, bud.
All right, I'll bet you sushi that you don't know what does SAS stand for?
Hi there, everybody joining us, watching us. We are live in 7 channels actually today in the YouTube, in LinkedIn, in Facebook groups and Facebook. Thanks again for liking the show. Please give comments, share, and we are here for a very big show today.